So that is what personal branding is being able to communicate the right message, the message that at each point in time, I am authentic, I am superior, right? I am the best. So 85% is the soft skills, 15% is hard skills.
Wow.
So your ability to do the job, doesn't count as much as you think it does. So how you're able to communicate, as I said earlier, that you can do the job is more important than doing the
real job.
And I'll give you a secret here for everyone out there that is listening to me. You make a lot more money talking about and writing about a thing than actually doing
the
it.
thing.
And I'll tell you, even from personal experience, you slide into your DM just from looking at your profile and tell you about jobs that they have not even started advertising. There's what we call the ABC of image. And I like the way it goes from ABC. So we have appearance, we have behavior, we have communication. So it starts with appearance.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the data analysis. You need to know about what you are analyzing. And that is the differentiating factor for many people.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Tech Culture Show. Brand new episode right here, and hope you've been enjoying previous episodes of the show. Fantastic people we've been interviewing, so far so good. And today's all about jobs. It's all about career advancement. It's all about what you can do to move to the next level in your career. And for those that are yet to get their dream job, this episode is for you, because I have someone that's going to be telling you about the practical things you can do. This podcast is not just about gist, it's about practical steps, right? Every guest I bring on this show is going to tell you things you can do right now that can help you get to your next level, either in your business or in your career, especially in tech. Of course, as you know, this podcast is all about how to make money using internet tools, either as a business person or as a career person. I have today my very good friend. He is one of the most, he's a big boss. And so each time I see how he responds to me, I feel privileged that somebody of this caliber can respond to my WhatsApp messages, can say, I will tell him, come here, sir, and he would come. Come and help me speak here, and he would come. I'm like, who am I? Who is my father's house? I welcome Mr. Olayinka to the Tech Culture Show. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Welcome. Welcome to you too.
So, we've not actually seen each other physically for a couple of months. I think it's up to, how many years? Last we met physically was...
must have been, was it before or after the lockdown?
Yeah, it was been quite a while. But of course, we talk, we do a lot of business, we talk a lot on phone, and that's just what makes your friendship, in my life really, really amazing. And just before we came on set, you were giving me some business advice. I was telling you about the business decision I wanted to make, and you were telling me, okay, why don't you do it this way? So we're just, first of all, I want to appreciate you for being in my life.
Thank you.
All right. So Mr. Olayinka has a very, very interesting story. And when I knew him first in the events business, events branding, business, and also in fashion. He is a clothier. I'm not a fashion person. Is it clothier they call it, or fashion?
Well, you can just easily just say designer.
He's a designer, stylist for celebrities. But today, he's an HR consultant. He's a business consultant. I would like to know how you made that switch from styling celebrities to becoming an HR consultant, a business consultant.
Oh, very interesting. I'm not sure I've made this switch yet. Maybe let's just say there. But the truth is, from the earliest I've known myself from a child, I drew, I designed. And what design simply is that what you do is that you take something that it's in the mind of someone and you try to replicate it, you execute. So in reality, that is simple strategy and execution. And what changed as I grew older and through all the different facets of my life was what exactly I was designing. So I was designing clothes as a young boy. I was designing what we call maybe events. So I designed interiors and things like that. After a while, I was designing programs. And I'm at a stage in my life where I'm now designing policies. So the reality is, all I've done throughout my life was to come up with strategies and ways to execute them. And that is what my life is
Okay.
about.
I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you an uncomfortable question. And the question is, which one pays more? Consulting, designing policies for companies and businesses, or styling and fashion? Which one pays more?
Pays is a very strong word. Pays. It depends on what your objectives are. Now, when we say pay, there is the monetary value of it. Obviously, there's fame, there's fortune, right? There's notoriety. But the reality is, depending on what you want to do and what makes you happy. In terms of pay, I will tell you having a more structured thing. Like say you're doing a business, yeah, you obviously might pay depending on how you apply and who your customer is. But if you have the highest profile celebrity to do a fashion piece for whatever, maybe he'll pay you once that particular time.
Okay.
But you're talking about a consistent stream of income,
Yeah.
having a business that runs. Obviously, I'll pick the one that gives me more fulfillment currently, which is why I'm here, HR.
HR consulting. Fantastic. So, and that is one of the reasons, just like you said, that's the reason why you are here. And one of the reasons why we are this podcast exists basically is to help people build careers and build businesses around the tech world, because like I said, there are a lot of opportunities in the tech industry. We in Nigeria, we in Africa, we are not scratching the surface.
Not at all.
We are not scratching the surface. And so this is why this podcast actually exists. So now you, of course, just like you said, right, you started in the events, in the branding, in the design, and you are also a personal branding coach, a
Yeah.
personal branding expert. You help people become, you know, who they are supposed to be, especially in the public eye. How does personal, first of all, what is personal branding? Break it down simply, and then tell me how that affects you getting your dream job in the 2024 world.
Okay, we'll take a step back and we ask ourselves because personal branding means personal is qualifying. It's an adjective in that sense, qualifying branding. Now, what is branding? Branding is the sum total of all the experiences that people would have of you or of a brand or a product. And in sum total, it's all about the perception. So the reality is that we are trying to control perception. How do people perceive you? We can call it the science of perception. So when we now bring it to personal branding, it is how do people perceive you as an individual, as a doctor, as a lawyer, whatever your profession is. And we realize that perception is stronger than reality, meaning that a person can be thinking that he is communicating one thing, and
Yeah.
whereas he's communicating another thing. He goes out for a $50 million contract, and they're looking at him and it doesn't look like $50 million. So the question is, how do they prove competency? Like you go to an interview for, let's say, not even necessarily a job now, say a visa interview. What the interviewer is trying to do is whether you are truly, right, supposed to go into their country. Do you have the competency? Do you have social ties, economic ties, things like that? And so when you sit down in a job interview, they are trying to determine your competency and capacity without actually testing you. So when you go to an interview, you are supposed to communicate competency, capacity, and your strong ability, right? With even just by talking, writing, standing, moving, and through your body language. So that is what personal branding is being able to communicate the right message, the message that at each point in time, I am authentic, I am superior, right? I am the best, right? That it doesn't, you don't go to a situation where you are saying something that is contrary to what you are trying to communicate at that time, which will then give you a negative result. So personal branding is that science and you being able to control the perception of others of you.
So how can we use personal branding to get our dream job? Because people want to get good jobs that pay well. People are learning skills, but then having skills does not necessarily translate into being gainfully employed. So
That's true. There's a there's a study again, the study on that. So 85% is the soft skills, 15% is hard skills.
wow.
So your ability to do the job, it's not doesn't count as much as you think it does. So how you're able to communicate, as I said earlier, that you can do the job is more important than
Than
doing the
doing the
job
real job.
in written.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a secret here for everyone out there that is listening to me. It is you will make a lot more money talking about and writing about a thing than actually
Doing
doing
the
it.
thing.
So
What you said is okay.
that is the piece of advice that anybody that is listening to this podcast must learn how to talk,
Yeah.
learn how to write, because those are the two major tools, apart from maybe if you can add design to that,
Yeah.
that will help you to convey your competency through all the platforms
Platforms
available to
available.
you. We have LinkedIn, we have Twitter. On social media, you will develop a social media identity,
Yeah.
and that is what you will market to those that are seeing you. And let me tell you something very important. Beyond the interview, the job posts, responding to job posts, sending applications, everybody's watching. HR is watching. People are actively recruiting in anywhere you find yourself. People are recruiting friends. The those in the church, the evangelists, they are
Recruiting
recruiting new
members.
members. So everybody's recruiting. And so people are trying to do, what can this person do for me? What can that person
Yeah.
do for me? So every comment you make on social media has to be deliberate. Every post
Yeah.
has to be deliberate. Your profile picture, deliberately, it is communicating something. So what it starts from, the first point is, what do I want to communicate? Right? But more importantly, let's go back. The first thing is, where do I want to go? That is what will determine your present actions. Do I need to go on LinkedIn, for example? I want to be a beautiful, like that beautiful director that we have here. He wants to be great at his job. Should I go on LinkedIn? Should I go on Instagram? Should I be on Facebook? Where exactly are my audience? Where
Yeah.
are those HR managers that are recruiting? You have mentioned LinkedIn. I need to be on LinkedIn to be able to get the attention of those HR managers. And I'll tell you, even from personal experience, they will slide into your DM once, just from looking at your profile, and tell you about jobs that they have not even started advertising.
Yeah.
So if you have not learned anything from this podcast so far, go and standardize your LinkedIn profile.
You are an HR consultant, and I want to believe that yes, you consult for different companies, you hire for different companies, so you have lots of experience when it comes to hiring. I want to know what is a make or break in a job interview when somebody comes into the room to talk about themselves, how they are the best fit for this job, when you want to hire, what are some of the experiences you have, and what are some of the tips you can give to people to say, okay, don't do this, do this.
Okay. First of all, let's identify that most people, especially in this part of the world, are visual people. I don't want to start teaching, but there's what we call the ABC of image. And I like the way it goes from ABC. So we have appearance, we have behavior, we have communication. So it starts with appearance, visual. You come into a room. First of all, there is a science that says that in the first 10 seconds of anybody entering a room, everyone is trying to determine two things. Well, what are those two things? One, what is your intention? Two, do you have the ability and capacity to be able to carry out that intention? If you dovetail that to HR, in an interview setting, it means you come into, what is this? Is this guy trying to be the computer science one here? Ah, does he have the ability to be the computer scientist in this place? No. So right there and then, in 10 seconds, that is one. On the other part, I'll talk about the elevator pitch. And it's a simple thing. You go into an elevator, you have 20 seconds to tell the person, say something that makes the person, that is interesting, and make the person maybe buy into you. It's a personal brand example. And that's 20 seconds. So in the two examples I told you, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, they are trying to make an inference on your abilities. Emphasize that abilities based on how you look and how you talk. So then the question now is, how do I then develop the ability to speak well, right? And dress well. So dressing cannot be overemphasized. You have to look, you are trying to be the chief engineer in this organization. You have to look like a chief engineer. Two, you have to talk like one. Where are the terminologies? A lot of people get too casual, and I've seen it a lot. They get too casual in an interview.
Yeah.
You have to command the room, make them. And one of the tricks of interview, which is simple, the interviewer is trying to give you a line of questions. Maybe she has 15 questions on her table. You have no kind of answers that can sell you. So there's information about yourself that can make you the star candidate here. So your trick is really to get her to shift to the questions you want her
You
to
want
ask
to,
you.
yeah.
Because these questions that she's asking you
You might not
is
know
not
them.
going to help you. Because if everybody comes in and gives generic answers,
Yeah.
there's really there's no differentiation. So what will differentiate you are things that
Be able
she
to
doesn't know
control the
about
narrative.
you
Yeah.
that will change the narrative. So while answering each question, you are dropping little subtle pointers
Yeah.
to make her ask you a follow-up question that is not in her
In her
list of
book.
15 questions.
Yeah.
Once you have done that, you have taken over the interview.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to. So interview, being able to do well in interviews is completely different from being able to do the job. Just like being able to test well and be successful in examinations, it has nothing to do with how much of the book you have in your head. It's about understanding this art and the science of what you are doing, and that is what each prospective job candidate needs to learn.
I mean, what you've just said really, really makes a lot of sense because of the fact that, you see, communication is a superpower in the world. Like, there are people that know less, that don't even look too amazing, but because they know how to command attention through their words, they have done unimaginable things in the world. And I could give some examples in history.
Like
How
Trump that became
Trump,
president.
Trump that became president, his ability to
Obama.
communicate. Barack Obama. That there's also some
Bill
negative,
Clinton.
yeah, there's also some negative examples that these guys were not, but just because they can talk and people will just be motivated to act, right? So I think mastering communication is really, really very, very key. Now, of course, you mentioned something very, very key here, which is 85% is soft skills.
Yeah, true.
15% is the hard skills. So yes, while you are learning data analytics, you are learning cybersecurity, you are learning how to code, you are learning video editing, all kind of skills you are learning. They are good. It's the skill that will even get you in the room anyway. Because if they're hiring video editors, for example, and you're not a video editor, you cannot even make it to the room.
Just to cut you short, I'll talk about getting into the room. So I have tales of even me trying to get into the room. I remember there was a job I was trying to apply for when I started my career. And they said, go and see this person, he can help you. Go and see this person, he can help you. And I went seeing people like, who is going to help me? I opened my computer and wrote an email to the group managing director. Why you should hire me? And they said I should resume on Monday. So I have that. So that is just me trying to get into the room.
Yeah.
And what happened? Well, let me write an email to the MD myself. What's the worst that can happen?
What can happen? Yeah.
And so when I got into the company, they're like, don't you are befriending Yinka. This one get Lego. Person will not do interview.
That's MD's boy.
No. But people didn't know. I didn't know the guy. I didn't know the guy. And so that is just one. I can tell you of a day when I had to do an interview that we did not know was going to happen that day. We thought we were coming to write a test.
Yeah.
And so we all come. I did very poorly in that test. I knew because I was not prepared. And so I finished the test. I'm like, what is this? But then I got into the interview and they said we should interview room. And we sat down. And for some very strange reason, I went there with shirt, tie, pocket square, suit, fully kitted like I was.
Yeah.
And the person in front of me, because we were on a queue, sitting down, waiting to get on the hot seat, the interviewer just shouted, "This is how to dress, blah, 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 blah." Okay, thank God, because he just came in jeans and a shirt. And there I was with my beautiful suits and pocket square. I was like, yes. And the next thing, he just quoted Aristotle. And then I quoted Aristotle back at him.
Yeah.
And he's like,
impressive.
Just opened the book and wrote, okay, ready to. And that was it. On both instances, where was the competency? On both instances,
they didn't even talk about the skill.
Exactly. Where was the ability to do
the real job itself?
It came from appearance, behavior,
Yeah.
and communication, just as I explained.
So let me tell a very interesting story. My sister is an accountant for many, many years. She's worked in oil and gas. She's worked in different companies, but now she's started her own business. And shout out to you, Maria.
Hello, Maria.
So she told me a story back in the day that there's this big oil company, reputable oil company in Nigeria. So they went to hire for some roles. And also they did a public, they threw it open to the public. So of course, people, hundreds of people applied. And the interview they brought them all to a room. And the first thing they did was to serve them bread and tea. First thing.
Dining etiquette.
They just served them bread and tea. Nobody thought these guys. So Nigerians now they saw free food. They say, "Oh boy, and this that's where you go be for this company. We never even start work. We don't need job." Maybe boys were eating. Boys were putting bread inside the tea, doing like this. All kinds of ah, people were spilling their tea. People all kinds of, oh my god. But there were few that knew, and so they were cutting their bread, chewing their bread, and then sipping the tea. Some people were using spoon to sip the tea. Some people were stirring the tea
Slopping
round.
it.
Some people were,
That example you gave just brought another memory as you mentioned food in an interview. So I wanted to, this was an interview, a big organization. They have like 10 subsidiaries. This is one of their subsidiaries. And easy, what they say, the low hanging fruits. So I went for the position that is very simple position. I
Yeah.
just get this one. No, the competition is not much. I'll just go in. I entered the interview room. They had an external consultant, big boy. So I think he was the one that made me want to do consulting because of his packaging and how much I heard he collected. And then the guy goes, first interview, I sit down, first question in the interview, and he goes, "Do you like the badge?" Do I like the badge? Waiting concerns the badge, concern this one. The badge. And then my answer to him, and it's very important that you understand that it's not has nothing to do with your competency. So my answer to him was, well, I know two the badges. And I said, well, the badge I like the badge. I know the badge the musician, and I know the badge the businessman. So let's talk about the band the musician, which the band the businessman, which I like. Well, he identifies his target market, which is the cocoa. He knows his product, which is the cocoa, and he gets good result. Good, 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 good. Can you guess what the next question was? Try and guess.
I can't guess so. Tell me.
He said he's bored of his wife.
Are you kidding me?
He said when he got married, it was fun. But now I don't know. He doesn't really like her again. He's thinking of getting a second wife. Now, what do I advise? This is an interview, by the way. And then I go into my relationship counseling. How old was I?
Wow.
I didn't even have a girlfriend at the time. So I started, in answering that question, I quoted myself, which is very strange. Meaning I was quoting something I had written or said, and then I answered him. I, gave him, some pointers, and he's like, "Good, good, good." And immediately after answering the question, he did something very, very interesting. That's why I remembered when he mentioned food. It beckoned at his assistant. He said, "Please, can you go to Tasty Fried Chicken or enjoy me? Buy me 3 packs of rice and chicken. One for me, one for you, and one for Yinka." He said, "Yinka, can we continue this conversation?" And the and the interview became rubbing of minds. And by the end of the interview, I was told that at that position I entered, no.
Yeah, it's too small.
They wanted to make me head of their business development unit. True story. Competency, not
Yeah.
spoken about.
They didn't even ask you questions about so how would you develop a business plan in order to take this company to the next level?
That was it.
So, I guess my next question now is, what is the state of the job market, especially as regards tech? Of course, there's a lot of buzz about tech. Tech is the new oil. AI is everywhere. People are learning data analytics. People are learning data science. People are learning programming. Are they wasting their time? Are there really a lot of jobs in tech, like they say?
Okay. I don't like to let me not really talk about jobs. I'd rather say opportunities, right? Can we use that word?
Okay.
Opportunities. I believe opportunities are always abundant anywhere, any sector. But then you also have to look at seasons. So in certain seasons, the opportunities in one industry might skyrocket because of that season. And in this season which is post lockdown season, it's purely tech. I read somewhere yesterday, you know, AI compute is the new oil.
Okay.
We saw what happened to Nvidia a couple of days
Nvidia, yeah,
ago,
yeah, yeah.
and it's
Yeah, stock has gone up.
true. I would never in my life I believe that somebody's market cap should be higher than Apple.
Apple's
How?
own.
How?
A company that does not even make a product that common man
Yeah,
uses. It makes a part, a
a
component.
part, a component.
Mm,
So that tells you the season we're in. So regardless of what your background is, you need to find. We're in a season where technology is required to amplify what you do.
yeah.
To amplify what you do. So who are those? Who are those that are going to make it in this season? Who are those that are going to get the best paychecks? Are those who are able to amplify what others are doing. And what is that? Technology. Question now is, how do you get in? Problem is that a lot of people just go, as we said, read a course. Oh, AI, you have to learn data and let's go learn data.
Because that's where the money is.
But as we're on the topic of personal brand, there's no differentiation. Your true, your true what is the value you bring. The measure of success is how useful and valuable you are to the people around you. Are you valuable? How do I become valuable? Okay, I need to know more about the businesses I am trying to amplify.
Yeah.
Because what is technology? Technology is simply a tool to make businesses grow
Okay.
and succeed. So how do I learn about business? So you're in a situation where you need to know more about certain industries rather than just become competent in technology, because we're at a situation where companies are shrinking in terms of numbers.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the data analysis. You need to know about what you are analyzing, and that is the differentiating factor for many people. Do you know about what you're
Yeah.
analyzing? You know about the fashion, you want to get into the fashion industry, you should know about the fashion industry. So what the skill I would advise you, because the opportunities are abundant, is try and know more about the sectors about outside the tech
Yeah.
sector. Know about the industries that the tech sector is actually boosting. For
Yeah.
example, in this current market, look around you. What is happening, for example, in fintech, you see what we said, finance technology.
Technology.
So how much of the finance do you
Do
know
you even know?
as somebody that wants to go into fintech,
Yeah.
health tech? You can't go if you don't know anything about medicine. What are you doing in health tech? You have to build that capacity.
Yeah.
And as a computer science student, that was the major thing I found out. That a lot of people knew how to code, but didn't know about what they were coding.
Yeah. They just knew
They
the
just
the
knew the code. So at the end of the day, there will always be a middleman between you and the client, because you simply do not understand speak the language of the
yeah.
clients, which is what I hope my tech brothers would learn.
So just to butcher what you've said, and you've spoken really, really, you've made a very excellent point that it's not just about tech. Tech on its own is nothing. It's tech on top of something. Just like you said,
Exactly.
fintech,
Tech, yeah.
health tech,
Tech,
agri
tech.
tech. So take for example, in our data science course at Digital Skills School, we advise students that data science is broad.
Broad.
It is large. You can learn generally, but then you still have to specialize. So we're telling them that look, which sector are you interested in? Are you interested in health tech, in agri, in legal? Because you can apply data science to all these fields. So one of our students was saying that okay, she wants to focus on health. I think that's fantastic.
Excellent.
That's we want to focus data science in health sector. We want to focus on data science in engineering, in robotics, in agriculture, in food production. So you must not just say you want to learn tech. Good, that's fine. So if you are learning UI UX design, for example, which sector do you want to focus on? Do you want to focus on
Specialize.
food? I know UI designers who focus on food sector. They hardly design products or apps or websites that are not relating to nutrition, because they don't just know how to use Figma. They know how to use Figma to design specific. They know how to communicate in the nutrition and food space more, right? So I think that is one thing that is very, very important for most people that want to come into tech. You must have an intention, right? So I want to. My next question now is, what should people do on a day-to-day basis that can improve their chances of getting a better job? Is it LinkedIn? Is it personal branding? Is it fashion? Is it communication? What can steps people can do day to day to improve their chances of people sliding into their DM to say, I have a job for you?
One word. Content. One word.
Content.
Content. Remember when I said you knowing about a thing, I'm talking about a thing, writing about a
Yeah.
thing, you make a lot more money than actually doing
Doing the
the
main
thing.
thing itself. Yeah.
Okay. Imagine you're a fashion designer. You want to sell, you sell clothes, maybe sell a particular piece. You just talked about specialization. So you are specialized on a particular piece that is 10,000 naira, but it will take you 10 hours to sew it. So you want to make 100,000 naira. Well, fine now. You will sew it 10, but that's like 100 hours now,
Yeah.
isn't it? 100 hours on that machine. Okay. But you imagine these two things. You start a fashion blog and you're talking about it. Two, you're chronicling, how you design clothes and the process of making it. And you get a lot of followers. From those followers, you get people that want to learn fashion.
Yeah.
And you start training them. And you can train each one of them for 100,000 naira. And you
Yeah.
get your 100,000 naira
Without
from
needing to
what?
spend all
Yeah,
those hours
hours.
sewing.
So why did I give that example? You have to learn how to produce content. And I'll give personal examples. You talk about sliding to DM. I was at the Radisson one day. Outside, we came out just to convince somebody to buy market, right? So, trying to sell myself to someone. And then a lady runs behind, just runs and hugs me and shouts, thank you, 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 thank you. Thank you. Those things you used to post on LinkedIn. Thank you. Wow, when I didn't have a job, that's what kept me sane. Every day I'll be reading it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I have a job now. Thank you. And she goes, she has helped me
Sell
to
yourself.
do any sale I want to
Mm.
sell.
Yeah.
And it came from daily posting content. And what did I do that year? At the beginning of the year, I think I had maybe 5,000 followers. I said at the end of that year, I wanted to have 20,000 followers on LinkedIn. And I set a target. And then I said, just as you said, which is the smart approach, what do I need to do daily to be able to accomplish that? And I said, I will post content
Every
once
day.
every day. I will try and get so number of followers every week. And I did that daily. I think at the end of the year, I had 25,000, right? So that was a deliberate effort,
Yeah.
posting content, making yourself more visible. And what is content? It's not just going and just telling that the president slept and be posting all those kind of things. It's how do I then communicate my capacity and competency on this particular subject? Going on LinkedIn, writing articles on Medium, having a blog, positioning yourself as a thought leader in that subject without actually always talking about it.
Yeah.
There's a principle of that Gary V teaches us, which is jab, 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 right
Right
hook,
hook. Oh, I love
which
Gary
is
V.
give 3 times,
Before
then
you ask.
yeah. So look at your audience. What do they need? Where are they trying to get to? Then how can you help? And then you're just talking about how they can help. You talk about businesses. Okay, for example, you create software that helps to scale businesses and help them grow, make their processes faster. Talk about the problems that businesses are going through
Yeah.
and how technology can help them. And you step away. You start to sound like an authority on the
In
subject.
that area.
And then somebody just slides in your DM like, we need this guy to come and train our coders here. It means like these coders are not that good. And then they invite you as an authority to an organization that you will have submitted a CV to
Yeah.
to work as one of the coders. So you
The
are now
staff.
coming to
Train
train
the
the
coders.
people that you should have been working with. And before you know it, they just feel that I think we should retain this guy. And they make you the HOD.
Yeah. Of that department.
And that is how somebody that had no job
Becomes
became the
HOD simply
HOD
because of
of
posting online.
content. So in everything, post content as much as you can. Thank you.
What are the top 5 skills, tech skills, as of today that you would recommend someone to have or someone to learn? Yes. That you will recommend that, okay, after listening to this podcast, I need to sign up for this course. I need to learn this. What are the top five as of 2024, 2025 world?
Top five. Let them not say that Yinka is the one that said they should go and learn this course. So, but then you have to look at, as we said from the beginning, where are you going? Where are you coming from? What do you want to accomplish? We can start with data, right? In order, whatever is built, every business that is built has to be run. So even
Yeah.
if you create a product, say Facebook has to run. And data is the lifeblood of operations for everything to run. So whatever skill you have, even if you are good at designing UI UX, you are excellent at coding, developing. The truth is that this thing needs to run. Otherwise, it's not a dress that you have to wear it and then go away. It is an actual maybe app or a business.
Yeah.
So data is the lifeblood of operations. So people would understand data, and that is it. You can't have a chief operating officer that does not understand data. It is
Yeah.
what management uses to take
make
decisions.
Yes.
So data is very. The issue is that we have more coverage now. There's the internet, so everybody knows about it. But it has always been so, right? It has always been so. So database management, things like that, being able to create systems, be able to create systems and software that help people to manage data to make more informed decisions
Yeah.
will sell.
So learn data analytics basically.
Okay. Other than that, the question now is, okay, we have started from the front. What about even to create the product itself? What do we need to create the product? And so there are different stuff you can do. There is the aesthetic angle, which is
Design.
and there is actually the functional angle, which is the coding and things like that. But what if you didn't know anything about anything? Who is going to manage those people? We have the engineering manager, the product manager, the project manager.
Yeah.
So if you want to make yourself an omni-field human being, why don't you learn any one of those three? That doesn't restrict you. Product management. Yeah. And you can. The beautiful thing about it is, which I don't advise you, don't be a product manager that is not a UI UX designer or a.
Yeah, you must have one of the
Have
hard
one
skills.
of the skills first.
Yeah.
Because when you start those sprints, they will hold you back if you don't understand what they are doing.
That's true.
So try and be maybe a product designer, try and be a software designer, but try and go. Tech is so beautiful that you can
Yeah.
it's fluid. You can learn this, go into this, and go into
And it
that.
doesn't take too long
It
to
doesn't
learn.
take 6 months. You've learned it.
6 months you've learned it. Yeah.
So please, but remember what I said. That data,
data is key. Is key.
Make sure you know it. Thank you.
So I think one of the things that has helped me, just like you said, right, is as a product person, as a product manager, if you're a manager in any tech space, you should have one hard skill.
Yeah.
Right. That's why we have technical product managers and non-technical product managers. But the technical product managers make more money.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you are managing people and you know about what they are doing, just like, for example, right, I came from a background of content creation. Right, working in a TV station where I edit videos, where I shoot videos. That's what has helped me build digital skills school. Because right from time I realized that the only way to advertise is to create content. And so most of the time I do content myself, I shoot videos myself, I edit videos myself, I post myself. Right. But now that I'm building other products, so I'm building an app now called Yes App that enables you sign contracts, create and sign contracts basically. I don't code, I don't even do UI UX design, but I have knowledge of those things. And so when I was working with designers, when I was working with programmers, when they are talking about programming language, I know what they are talking about. Then nobody can come and bobo me and tell me this because I know it.
Give excuses.
You give me excuses that
upon
I say,
excuses.
no, that's not true. What you're saying is not true. Right? The Figma file that was used to create the design for that product, I created the Figma file myself. I own the Figma file. So nobody can hold me to ransom. And so, yes, management skills are good, but then the hard skills are also good. I think we've done. I want you to talk about your new book.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, talk about your new book. This is it. My fourth sense. It just came out today, actually, and Life Lessons for
timely.
Leaders, Part 3, Entrepreneurs Edition. And I'm turning to the back here. I've seen a lot of people have recommended this book. I want you to tell us what this book is all about and what what did you need to add to make it part three, like part three.
What this books, the series is all about is, it started from my 2 cents. My 2 cents really is a metaphor for advice. So it's my advice, right? So part two was my
Oh yeah,
third
it's two
cent,
cents, not 10 cents.
and the third one is now my fourth cent. In
Okay.
this particular edition, I zero in on entrepreneurs, on dreamers, on innovators, and I talk about things that have happened, things I've experienced, things that I've witnessed. I'm a student of life, and so what I do with these books is teach lessons. I used to be tutorial master in school, right? So I used to get the lecturer's notes and get the textbooks and give people the notes that they will read for exam. And so this is me doing it, taking it from the classroom into life, which is to teach you in a way that it will be easy to comprehend and digest lessons that you need to learn about career, about business, and about life in general that will make you stand, get in front of the crowd and make you succeed. And so that what I do is I pick stories. I look at a story and then I make an inference and I tell you, well, you see that this is how this should be. So make that decision. And so a lot of people haven't read this book. And the beautiful thing about my books are they are conversation starters. You know, there was something that happened, and then I can refer to a chapter in my book and say, yes, 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 that's what Chinka said. So it's conversation starters, and it actually solves arguments. So this is the end. Look at this is what Chinka said. And they are coffee table books in the essence that my books are designed for light reading. So you sit down during your lunch break and you start to glean on these lessons. And so that's my goal.
So where can people purchase this book?
And if to get a book, just go to my website, oawilliams.com. Just click on books and you find the books and then you can purchase the books very easily.
Say
And
the
it will be
website again.
OA Williams, that's oawilliams.com/books, and you get the book.
And of course, this is what we do here at the Tech Culture Podcast, helping you to understand tech. And we will focus mostly on career development, getting the right job, things you can do to get the best job. And I'm hoping that you're going to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon to get notified because I hold interesting conversations like this on a weekly basis. And leave a comment below if you have a question for Mr. Olayinka Williams. Leave your comments, and of course, it's definitely going to be looking at the comment section of this post. You can also connect with him on LinkedIn. Is a LinkedIn influencer, Olayinka Williams. Search on LinkedIn, of course, his picture will pop up. And you can also follow me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where I write most. So I'm not really an Instagram person, even though I have more followers on Instagram than I have on LinkedIn. But I'm not an Instagram person. I like LinkedIn so much. And so that's it for today's episode. Mr. Lorenka Williams, we used to give high five at the end of this show. So high five. Hey,
Thank you.
nice one. So thank you so much. And I'll see you on the very next episode.